I have an incredible opportunity now to chat with none other. I would have so many different points that I want to raise, and so many items that I would use to build some hype towards an introduction for this particular gentleman. But today we're not doing any of that. Today I just want to say welcome to season 2 of Trini Inspiration, a Fuzz Events and Entertainment Limited production, and I have the opportunity and the honor to sit and have a conversation now with none other than Anil Bheem.
Thank you very much, brother, for having me on your show. I wonder what the show would have been like should COVID-19 not have happened.
That is something that that's going to tug at my heartstrings, because
let me ask you just one question. Did COVID-19 bring this out of you?
No, we started before. We were thinking about doing it before COVID. COVID happened. We had a break in between where we were able to do the show with adjustments. And every time after we completed season 1, every time we tried to get season 2 off the road, then there were more restrictions, there were more things.
Isn't it though, Fazil, amazing? Amidst all the negativity that comes with COVID, the enthusiasm and the creativity is bringing out in humans.
Yes.
Isn't it absolutely amazing? We just unstoppable, you put a block wall here and then we go under, over, through, or to the wrong.
The trending word right now is pivot.
We as humans really are, and you see it now.
Yeah.
Resilient.
Look at Sauce Doubles and Darren Doubles. Look, like seriously, look at Sauce Doubles and Darren Doubles. I mean, with all the restrictions on us, they still managed to find a way.
I had those twice, 2 days and I would deliver and thing, nice, good stuff. I love it. But things are not nice, eh? Things are very bad on the other end. I know off air you was asking me if I'm mad with that interview that I think I'm glad you caught it, because I do have a lot on my mind.
Yeah.
So
what do you mean? That is why I wanted to have nobody else but you to kick off this season, because
let me answer that question by talking about some other things that I'm at. More than a year ago.
Wait, hold on. Before you move on, let me see if I understand what just happened there. You just ask yourself your own question. I'm going to answer your own question. Huh?
You asked me off air, and I know I have to answer this thing, so I'm going to answer it.
So you came onto the show, hijacked the show as host and guest.
You know, it is for after all these years of being a reputable, upstanding, upscale-ish kind of citizen. So I'd like to think. To be called mad? No, I'm not mad, but things are mad. So let me.
If somebody were to take a scroll and look at your social media now, there are things that they could find on your social media feed that could make them wonder. Has Anil Bheem lost it? What is he talking about? Everything is seemingly anti-establishment and otherwise. What's going on?
Ever since I've been a little boy's ear, and started to pray. I've always been, one thing I've always prayed for is to always see the truth.
Right.
No matter how bad it is, how brutal it is, how disrespectful it is. And I've been living by that rule. I've been blessed to have that kind of truth come to me, or maybe I just check a little bit more. I've been blessed and cursed as well to have truth enforced on me, that kind of truth, because every time I mess up in one tree, that was a place that don't make joke at all. They will crush your ego back down to zero. I don't care how big you is. They have something to do, you do it their way or the highway.
Yeah.
Put your tail between your legs and relax. They have that kind of station, that rules that we have.
Always keep you humble.
And good so, because in having to live like that, it means that you have to be factual.
Yeah.
With what you're doing there. So I've been said, let me back up a little bit and deal with why people say that cat probably mad. More than a year ago, this virus came to this part of the world. First they say it came from a bat. Latest, I looked at Fox News recently. Fox and CNN had war. So don't come down that road to tell me, right, about things. But it has just been confirmed that it did in fact leak from the lab. It was in fact human interfered with. It didn't come from no bat, as it made people feel too posh hiding on in the market down there and making people feel bad for eating authentic kind of foods that we've been eating for years. There comes out this virus that left China, which is a place, by the way, that accustomed to locking down the whole country and putting on masks and all kind of thing like that. Okay? So they come now, it reached our shores. We lock down this country for zero. We have oil, gas, seafood, sea, river, hiking, this, that, food to grow so, animal to rear so. We have factories to build concrete, cement, this, that, the other. We could make canned foods, we could make soft drinks, we make alcohol, we have weed legal now. We have everything at our disposal just to get off our behinds and make our country self-sustainable. Stop studying the US dollar and the yen and what happening across the world and things like that. Right? We have this golden opportunity to properly secure, lock down our borders. Right? We licked down COVID down to 0 cases. Right? They went and called a general election. All the parties went on. Even my went on a big truck and thing. Thank God I can't COVID. Right? We gone, the cases gone up. Lock back down the place again. We've been going lockdown and come back and go for every 3 weeks, every 3 months. Now it's getting worse. Police could come in your house now. If they see more than 3 cars parked outside, they have the right to come in here and embarrass the hell out of you and the camera girl. This is what society has become. Your family, your good cousin who live in Arima, God forbid, has to pass away you to whatever, COVID-19 or whatever. The world has now become so desensitized to a funeral even. You don't even feel, you don't even get any opportunity to go and mourn. Cutting that heartstring between all of us. Kids can't play together in school. I'm mad. Kids can't go to school yet. They postponed CXC again the other day. SCA, sorry. The babies can't get infected. But big hardback strong you playing with dog all day. I have to wear a mask all day with my wife in the car because they can't see about the taxi situation, the PH taxi situation. Am I mad? You have quacks coming on TV saying you don't need to wear a mask. Do this next 2 weeks you have to wear a mask. Go and exercise in the sun, hot sun, open air. We live in a Caribbean country with big air. Passing police passing you alone walking in the road after 9 in the night now taking some fresh air. You lock you up in your own neighborhood. What you doing? Putting somebody at risk with COVID-19? Go home. We always knew that the only way to get rid of a virus is to be clean. Wash your hands, wash your face, don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose. People always sick in the building for zero. How often we get sick? You come to work almost every day with a cold and handing over to the same mic to me for years. And I never get sick. I just saying, we are tough as human beings. Why now all of a sudden we have to take an injection that not even protecting you, that not even giving you immunity, that don't work nothing like the other vaccines from the past, but they're saying it's a vaccine? I'm not mad. These are not the solutions. This is not the way I can lock down somebody. I had last week, I heard briefly, I switch it off. You know you have to wear your mask in your own house and social distance in your own home. I can understand if she's sick with COVID-19, you need to social distance, but you can't make that the normal rule. You know, as the last time my baby cousins have seen each other, my cousins making babies and things in Canada, close. I never see them. They're born, birthday's gone. Cousins don't come and look for me. If we see each other, we have to be afraid to think each other. They have destroyed the world and our minds and our hearts. You can't go to mosque. And under all that, people still finding a way to persevere and to find the goodness and find the God. Where are the religious leaders coming out? Where is spirituality fitting in all of this thing? Where's the message in all of this? The material world is separate from the spiritual world. It's two different angles.
I heard something this morning, and I'm sorry to interject, but this is most pertinent to what you're talking about, right? I heard something just this morning that said, do not let your fear of the virus be greater than your fear of the Lord.
People more concerned now with offending each other. What about the word of God? It's offensive now. It's laughable now to preach word from the Bible and from the Quran and from Lord Krishna. What have to do with anything? Now is the time when people scoffing at people who turn to God and say, no, I will turn to my natural herbs and medicine. Doctors there's a head of a doctor, head of the Southwest. I don't want to quote it. I just heard the interview driving up here while I was waiting for you with him and another thing. He is basically saying that the doctors in charge are seeing about all these people in ICU and things. It's junior doctors, many of them not experienced enough to deal with situations like this. Look at people dying. Is this working? Is the lockdown working? People lock down first. You know what lockdown is? Like you drive around, you're one of those who have to go to work. How much cars are on the roads? You're lucky if one pass you. Everybody driving at 80, everybody doing the thing. You're watching your neighbor's car window, everybody wearing their mask. You go in the grocery, everybody trying to follow the rules. Stop coming down on the people and making people like me who trying to show what they're talking this madness and trying to broad brush to the rest of the solutions. It's madness.
So let's address the root cause of all of this, right? The root cause of all of this, Anil, is fear.
Definitely.
Right? The root cause of all of it, all of the craziness, is fear.
Take up there's nothing more therapeutic than going and immersing your body in a body of water. You could have the world of worries. You could lose a loved one. All you need to do is go in a beach or a river by yourself, hear the water flow, or just sit down on that. Not everybody go beaches, go for a lime and to drink rum and to skin out and bend down and rub up on each other and drink a sit of rum and smoke weed and crash and do that. Beach is not lime. That's modern nature, yo. Don't tell me don't go beach. Don't tell me go outside and take a walk in the hot sun, 4 o'clock in the afternoon with a mask, so there's a police will hold me.
But what I find that has been swept under the carpet is the fact that the science is being utilized so conveniently at times. Sticking with your point of the beach, right? There are medical professionals, even locally, who have said that there is no science and there are no statistics to prove in any way whatsoever, right, that the beaches were super spreaders or caused people to contract the viruses. They have effectively locked us off from the beaches and from this wholesome family entertainment and healing, natural healing, because they are afraid of what those masses of people will do either before or after the beach.
And not one person, I'm sure. What is I haven't seen these stats? I don't know how they work these stats out. How alright, yes, we know they would want to close down. Ideally, the place needs a little quieting down. The place is very quiet. How much more we'll sacrifice? They close us down for the 2 public holidays. Nobody goes anywhere, right? No problem. It's a public holiday. Don't go nowhere online. It's all good. We did this already and it worked. The lockdown worked. What did we do in the meantime? Did we try to boost our economy? Did we try to secure our porous borders for our friends who are coming in from down south? And not all Venice who came here illegal. I spoke to a friend recently. I was like, she was saying that she needs to go back home and check her fat mother or something like that. And she says, I have no flights. I said, let's go to the boat. She said, no, that's illegal. Like, we can't do that. That's a dangerous passage where people are losing lives and we have people coming on TV with jacket and tie and talking us to stupidness and being rebroadcast on news. News has been hijacked. They want the medical industry has been hijacked even. Fauci and these men. WHO. Really? We listen to WHO. Yes, the World Health Organization has been known to be the thing to listen to. I'm telling you, they're a waste of time. The boss has been caught lying recently just because Trump bring him up. And Trump is worse off in our eyes than he is.
Now, automatically, every single thing that you've just said there, you know from having been in the media and been in public limelight for so long, you know that there is going to be a backlash to that. There are going to be people who are going to disagree vehemently with what you've just said.
Feel free.
And there are going to be people who are going to say that, again, Anil Bheem has lost it.
Let them say it, no problem. I think you have lost it. So tell me, listen, look, I just take a vaccine for instance. I just did my part. What part you do? What part you already do? Are you immune from the vaccine? You just like me after wearing mask. You just like me after social distance. You just like me when the lockdown the place after get home. You just like me after take the test before you go on the flight and be proven negative because you could be positive. Although you so why are you telling me I have to take this? That is the solution. That is not the solution. If it was the solution, I would clap and go and push everybody to go and be the solution. Right? And it hasn't been proven to be the solution. There's no test. This is the test. What test has been done? Which test has been done? It has never been tested on humans. This is a test. Right? I'm not willing to be a test
The
subject.
question that I know everyone will want to ask right now is Anil Bheem an anti-vaxxer? Based on what you've just said, are you an anti-vaxxer?
I have the big thing here.
Mm-hmm.
I got two. I am proof that a vaccine can kill you. Why? When I was 4, I got vaccinated for yellow fever. When I was 5, I went in school for the first time, and 1 week after I went in school, they lined up everybody. My brother used to do it a long time.
Mm-hmm. Go to school.
And
Outside.
I didn't have my vaccination card. Well, probably I did, and probably I didn't know what it was because I was just 5. And I get 2. My whole eyes get yellow. My both eyes get yellow. I live with something called jaundice for 15 years of my life. I didn't do nothing really. I didn't care about that. And I say the vaccine caused that. But it was 2 at the same time. So that didn't kill me. That's no point. And all the other vaccines, all my kids vaccinated. I tell my daughters, make sure my grandkids vaccinated. But don't tell me something that's not giving me immunity. And every day I see it on news, take this. Why? To give me a little boost.
So what would you prefer they say to you? If not take the
I
vaccine,
would prefer if they say, Fazir, stop eating bad, get some immunity boosting foods and fruit, go on a national campaign right now to get led from a government level, that everybody sponsor bleach and thing and grease and everybody wash down the whole house from top to bottom, pass in the road, spray down the whole country, give us a basic flatline chance of making sure that there's no virus anywhere on any surface, either in our homes or in public places or on the street to begin with. Then begin to boost up our health. Come where the doctors tell you, hey, get up in the morning, make sure exercise a little bit. The sun is good for you. You're not going to nobody company to take a sweat in the sun. These are things will strengthen your lungs. That the thing squeezing in on your chest right now. Build your chest area. Take breathing exercises. Do yoga. Don't practice the hygiene properly. When you go home, bathe. Wash out your nose hole. Take out your eyes. Wash your ears. Gargle with things that you think. Drink a little lemon. These are not jokey things. This thing's better, I believe, than taking the vaccine and then we sit at home and waiting. For what? For me to take it too so you feel sick and not doing nothing.
So just going back to that point of fear based on the last thing you just said, I can't help but feel as though there is an imposition, as in those who have made the decision to have the vaccine, and this is a personal choice at the end of the day, right? So every single individual has that choice to make.
Except the person who does not want to get vaccinated. We don't have that choice.
Well, that's the point I'm raising, right? Why is it that the people who have made the choice to take the vaccine are seemingly imposing that decision on others and casting their aspersion on them? That if you choose not to, or if you are hesitant, or if you even dare ask a question, that you are being irresponsible.
That is what I'm kind of faced with right now.
So you know that you've been accused of being irresponsible. I read it on your social media. People are questioning what's going on in your thinking. I've read where people say that you're a public figure and you shouldn't say the things that you say.
But to quote, have I lied? People need to hear the brutal truth. If you want to listen to it, no problem. I'm just telling you, I never tell nobody you're going to vaccine. I'm just telling you the same thing. COVID feature number 1. When you're going to work tomorrow, listen to it. COVID feature number 1. Right? The doctor on our station, right, who was put there officially, has on more than one occasion and more than one feature said, go and listen to one and prove me. You could do it Monday morning when you go. How much times he said you are not protected from COVID-19 with the virus. You still have to, with the vaccine. You still have to mask, you still have to social distance, you still have to do like the unvaccinated. Which is an next thing too. The human body is very strong. And God rest all the souls of all those who passed on. Right? We're hearing healthy ones, we're hearing things. So there's a serious virus. The next point I want to make is the solutions that they're using right now is not working. I don't think it's working. In terms of the vaccine, get some treatment, get on a campaign to clean down the place, let people know what time of the day it is.
That's actually a really smart idea. I don't think I've heard anybody put that out into the public.
Drop the price of fruit, sanitize down the whole country. Why we not doing that? Get all the groceries and all these big people to sponsor people's house with bleach.
And the thing is, Nila,
Get water to raise the pressure.
we're an island. So once we close the borders and do what we're supposed to do here effectively, then this should be a non-issue whatsoever.
Look how bad Europe is. We sit at home and listen to the government. You know how nice the world was just a week before COVID. You know how nice the world was with people actually seeing governments and institutions with the BS that they are. And all of a sudden we sit down home now and listen to these same men who tell you red is blue and blue is green and coming to change it back the other 2 days, and you just sit at home in front of your TV listening. We need to step on that.
So if you permit me, I just want to use your time to share a few concerns that I have as well based on what you've said. And one of the concerns that I have most prominent in my mind is the fact that the government is buffing up the population of Trinidad and Tobago. I have not been buffed up this much. As a citizen of this country, I have not been buffed up this much for as long as I can remember. My parents didn't buff me up like that. And every single press conference, the government is never accepting blame for their part in any of it. They are not addressing the border issue, which is an ongoing issue, and I'm not implying in any way whatsoever that it is the only issue or the only factor, but it is a factor to be considered.
Right, so
the fact that a boat with dead people can navigate its way in the Trinidad and Tobago waters undetected speaks volumes as to our present Coast Guard and coastal security, right? So my concern, one of the major concerns that I have, is the way that the government has been speaking to the population. And I have this concern not because I care about the tone that people talk to me. My back broad, and I could deal with situations. I've dealt with much worse. But my major concern, my underlying concern with that tone that the government and those in authority continue to take, is leading towards the use of the word totalitarianism.
Yep.
And this is the major issue that I have. And anybody who is doing their homework
will see that
will
quickly heading down that road.
Correctly.
And that is one of the major things I try to prevent. You see the laws that come with the fear of COVID-19, man, it is out of this world. It's slavery. It is easily backing you back into your corner. I don't know what is the end result of all this is going to be. It's going to reach a stage just now. I feel the way people going and the way people saying and the way people looking at others who questioning their solutions right now. I don't want to even use the word vaccine. Their solutions right now. Alright? The way it's going, if these cases don't go down, they will send the army, right? Round up people, that'll put them in tent and force vaccinating or do whatever they have to do, Because as long as they see me or you as a threat. And where's a threat now? Living free. Walking your dog in the road without a mask, going beach, taking a bath with your wife, everybody laughing at you now. Because police locking you up. Yeah. Where's that? You have a prime minister on TV using jackass and all. I never even say that word on a mic. First time.
I spoke about it the Monday after and I couldn't say the word on it. I couldn't because you know that goes counter to every broadcast policy that we've ever done.
Close down that company that is say about broadcasting ethics something in our country. Close it down.
Tat.
Yeah, Tata. Right? We have been subject to more rules and regulation and have been straighter in line than any other company, I think, at 1 and 3. And we've done that on our own.
We've used words accidentally like shit on air and got Randy Riot Act. Or crap or other things and got Randy Riot Act for things like that.
So where's the ethics? We might have seen to something, but
now at the same time, the defense that I will put up with that is, sometimes you need to speak to people in the language that people understand. And maybe the people who were, jackass in the scene were the people who would only understand it if it was said like that.
Yes, I'm talking about said like that. Let me say something clear about this vaccine because it's not black and white with me.
Right.
On this COVID-19 vaccine.
Right.
I have uncles, I have aunties, I have cousins, I have younger people that be in my family who are going ahead and taking the vaccine. They need a boost in their system to fight this virus if they get in contact with it. And if the vaccine is the way that they're getting that from, fine.
Right.
Right? All I'm saying as well is there are other ways to get that same thing that you get it from the vaccine done. Let people do it. And don't tell the people that they need to get the vaccine. If you're offering immunity, which did not come out and say the vaccine is not giving you immunity, you can go out and live your life free and fearless from the unvaccinated because you are now protected. Right? You can't get it, you can't die from it, you can't do it as with other vaccines or the works in the past. And who need it? I don't want to go down that road. Go ahead. Get your level of immunity via that, because not everybody will go and look to blend up an apple in the morning and squeeze a half a lemon, rusket lemon in it and know the power and drink some honey and things like that after and take a run and sweat out all your toxins from your body. It's not old time stupidness, you know. The older folks was onto something, they live long and they pass on things to us for a reason.
As a matter of fact,
when they talk about bush tea and all kind of thing like that to drink for fever.
One of the latest scientific articles that I read,
those things are not laughable.
In prep for a show, is that the studies are saying that people who exercise often are more likely to put up a better fight against.
Look, another thing. There's a little bit of theory in perspective in my thinking here.
Right.
You take this vaccine that is supposed to increase the antibodies that would usually rise if you get COVID-19, right? Let's just say the person has an adverse reaction, right? And they max out at 100%. Yeah, not fever or whatever from the vaccine. Yeah? They come back now and they catch themselves. What happens if that person catch COVID-19 in the future? Wouldn't the body recognize that as a base level and maybe overreact and send up and maybe kill the host?
I don't know.
And vice versa. If someone comes in contact with a strong variant of COVID-19, which you're not checking to see if you already have COVID-19, well, you can vaccinate somebody who already had something and recovered from it. It means that you're not immune from it. That's how a virus works. And if it doesn't look like that, it's not a virus. Are we checking to see how this thing really is? Is it the virus like AIDS that stays with the host forever and keeps deteriorating your body? Did anybody check that? So this is a virus you just cannot deal with. What is the other defense that we put up? How do we survive through it?
So now I just to change gears a little bit, right? I mentioned the word totalitarianism a short while ago, and that is going to segue into the next issue that I wanted to raise about this conversation we're having. In Israel, right? They have been able to vaccinate a large proportion of their population. In fact, they, alongside Seychelles, I think, were like two of the most vaccinated countries on the planet, right? One of the issues arising out of that, and there have been so many protests in Israel, it's alarming and concerning that those protests were not carried by the mainstream media, but there have been so many protests by those who have been unvaccinated in Israel, where they are complaining that with the COVID passports that are now being required, they have now become second-class citizens. Yeah. Because if you don't provide proof of vaccination, your COVID passport, you're unable to access public spaces, public buildings, public
services. Doesn't that sound like the mark of the beast on the book of Revelation? Does it or does it not?
It sounds suspicious, to say the least.
Right.
It sounds suspicious because now it's going to mean that I saw Dubai, they've also said that you're not going to be able to enter. Muslims cannot in future attend the Hajj without proof of a COVID-19 vaccination.
Yeah, is that part of the whole deal?
Of what, Islam?
Is that part of the whole deal alive? Right? There's your temple. There's a temple that God put your soul in to reside in. There's your sovereign being. That's supposed to have total control over everybody, what goes into it, especially what comes out too. Mm-hmm. Where is that fit in the picture? Totalitarian is the world started to see the bullshit too clearly. Right? And everybody all these people who have agendas, even they in the mix too, and are saying COVID happened because of that, But they happen because of COVID. They're making full use of this thing, Then you look at the whole meeting in Davos, 3 hours long. I watched the whole thing. I didn't speed it up on YouTube. It was unbelievable. It starts off by saying you will own nothing and be happy. So when they send people home, don't work. We'll give you a little small something, and you can't pay your mortgage.
Universal basic income.
The government will jump in and say, well, let me buy. I'll pay all the rest for you, but you can't own it again, huh?
Yeah.
Before you know it, but you have to pass on to your loved ones that you work your whole life for. They're gone in the hands of the state now.
Nil, I am.
These are the kind of lines I think along.
I am smiling here because you and I have never had this conversation before, and it is amazing the concerns that we both share. And what is amazing to me is the fact, it is incredulous for that matter to me, the fact that so many people are unaware of the very same things that we're talking about. I know that same Davos meeting that you spoke about.
I have no issue with people being unaware. Don't get me wrong. I have no issue with jumping a pit full with stakes, But when you convince she who had no idea or no reason at all to go in that direction, and fall in that hole with stakes, I have an issue with that. You catching me, I'm trying to save that whole up stakes down, saying, I just let in case you're run down, so. You could tell me as I'm a man after that and go your way, You're falling in your stake, I don't care about you,
So the biggest issue that I have with what is happening right now in Trinidad and Tobago, Anil, is with and as a direct result of the lockdowns that have been going on for a sustained period of time now. I've lost track. We are failing to realize that people are going hungry and people are starving and they're in a bad way before COVID is a threat to them. In other words, what I'm saying is hunger is a bigger issue to many more people right now than is COVID. And this is problematic and concerning. And let me just say this last thing, right? Like, I've realized a lot of people are clamoring for more lockdowns. They are clamoring for extended lockdowns. They were clamoring for a state of emergency from a long time ago, right? And I pay attention and have been paying attention to who are the people, what is their economic profile who have been petitioning for this. And I'll tell you this one now. Not a single poor person, not a single daily paid laborer has gone to social media to say, hey, lock me down some more. The only people who are petitioning for this and the only people who are begging for it are the people who are afraid. So they have the ability to lock themselves up in their homes, and they and their families are going to be safe for weeks, if not months or years on end. But what about everybody else? And that is problematic. What about you think the average person who has spent their entire lifetime working for their living, it's not that they're begging. It's not that I made children that I can't take care of. No, it's that I can't work. I work in construction, but that too is shut down. I work in whatever industry, but that too is shut down.
Those who sit on those high chairs that people put them in, up in life, don't care about those people.
But it's also been proven that the lockdowns don't work. Now lockdowns take the numbers down, but the lockdowns, in some articles that I've read, it just does not work. After a while, you're going to have, once you lock down, it's going to stop. And then when you start releasing the population or giving us back our little freedoms here and there,
you see what you say there?
You're going to have it spread over again.
That's very rich. You have to wait till you get back your freedom. They give you a little 2 weeks. Do that in your car when you go on the beach, you have on your mask because you have police there. Why you enjoy life again? This America, for instance, example. America, everything they eat, they comes on the shelf or from a restaurant. Right? Those people that don't know how to eat, they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to get food, they don't know how to grow food if they big farmers and then go in their house and thing. Right? That's why Bill Gates want to buy out all the farmland.
That is something a lot of people don't know.
So eventually everybody going to eat how he plants, or whatever he plants, will give it to eat. Right? And they're going to have to trickle down to the rest of us in the lazy parts of this world now, who don't want to grow their own food and own ground provisions and grow their own whatever and eat it. They depend on canned foods from America. That we paying $50 more for something for. And that's how the system will continue to work. So why do we have to continue to be dependent on an outside source like America or China, wherever the case may be? Now it's a golden opportunity. I said it when we first locked down with borders, let us self-sustain. We have oil, gas, pitch factory to build everything.
My immediate response to what you just said there is that from the time you mentioned the name Bill Gates, there are masses who will immediately say, oh, okay, everything that he's saying makes no sense at all because he is a conspiracy theorist.
Bill Gates.
Immediately you are a conspiracy theorist.
Bill is just one out of many, man. He just...
But you understand what I'm getting at, right? Immediately you are going to be classified as a conspiracy theorist.
I don't know what I mean. I think the real lies right now are being said so often on mainstream media. That is the most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Right? White lies is what they call it.
White lies, alternative facts, etc.
What's the cases now?
I don't know, but you know what, Neil? I just want to transition the conversation a little bit because I'm glad that you used the term media, because I wanted to talk to you about the media a little bit, right? You're a media veteran. You've been involved in media overall for about 30 years, roughly. About 5 years short of that, actually on air. And being in the media, you have had the chance to see what happens behind the scenes. And in particular, now we're talking about news, right? And how news is brought to the fore, how it is vetted, how it is sourced, if it is done professionally. You know, you are able to see all of that backstory.
Everybody following fashion from the big first world countries, style of news and entertainment shows and Kim Kardashian and this and that, and everybody want to follow them. So news has been somewhat hijacked into only and mainly and safely pushing the narrative of state and people at that kind of level. Right? So the big boys and the big and the whoever is in official things, they have the say. Duma and this and that and the other. Right? Duma could come and say, yes, the lockdowns are working very well, ting. But the man who working for a Duma store family dying for a piece of food, and he's seriously thinking about taking a blade and going and putting on that mask a little higher and things and robbing that Chinese shop. You know, it is to watch a little child who have no food anymore as a man. You tell me don't go and work because some fool had a big party with 300 plus people and open up the place in Tobago and 30, 40, 50,000 people flying to and fro, and you boy, I ain't that mad, are you mad?
So my question about the media, right? I'll give you an example, and then
news has been hijacked.
I'll tell you what I mean by that, right? Because you have been saying that, you've been using that line for a long time, and that's what I wanted to get at. You've posted that on your socials as well, right?
Dick Henderson and him and Sate and all the others who worked in the Monetary FM newsroom from them have been working on being the most unbiased news source, the most factual, and the most black and white and humane and decent type reporting. So I grew up around that newsroom, and him and I were good friends for years. I have been privileged to work alongside being in media and see people in the earlier days do investigative reporting. Right?
Which does not
happen now. The minister, that's why the minister and the prime minister could come and say XYZ and have it debunked by fact 3-4 days after. And no real redress, because the prime minister has spoken in people's mind. That's enough for society. Nobody cares about that.
So here's the example I want to give you. And this is something that is very dear to me, right? Recently, with the Palestinian and Israeli genocide, and I'm going to call it exactly what it is, right? Local media houses, here's what's been happening, right? They're going to the BBC and they're seeing what the BBC has written about this story, because this is their source.
So you only see in Syria.
So this is their source of international news, right? And if the BBC is biased, right? We're not making allowances for if there's a bias on the BBC's part.
Naturally biased.
But if the BBC is biased because they have an ally in Israel who's involved in this conflict, yeah?
We need to look past that.
So what we are doing is we're going to the BBC's website and we're seeing a story that the BBC published which says that conflicts between Israel and Palestine have flared up once again. And we are now running with that story wholesale. So our newscast starts off, local newscasts are starting off by saying something along the lines of Israel responded with jet attacks or plane attacks or bombed Gaza today in retaliation for Hamas firing 200 rockets. But what the local media houses are not saying, they're not doing their investigative journalism, and they're not getting to the truth of the story, which is, why did Hamas fire 200 rockets in the first instance? Yeah. Nobody's asking that question.
That's the second
which is the root cause of the whole story. Hamas is firing rockets because the Israelis have been running into Masjid al-Aqsa, have been moving forcibly removing people from Sheikh Jarrah, have been killing people,
Right.
maiming people. Palestine is basically an open air prison.
That is a modern day version of Apaches and cowboys.
It is a modern day version of the same Holocaust that the Jewish people went through, that the Palestinians are now going through, and it is absolutely hurtful that the media institutions, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but around the world, but especially in Trinidad and Tobago, because we have a chance to vet these things. Why are we not vetting it? Why are we not trying to provide a balanced side of the story? And let me tell you, Anil, I've gotten to the point now where, because I can't handle this one-sided view of the story, and it's hurting me at the core. I, who have never been political, have gotten political, because this is not even a political issue. This is a humanitarian issue. And I said, you know what? I don't care what numbers I have, whether I have a sphere of influence of 100, or 1,000, but I am going to use that to speak truth to power. And of late, I have started every single day. I am making it my business to post the different side of the story about this Palestinian genocide, because that is what it is, Anil. It is a genocide. And if Egypt didn't get involved, the Americans won't. A lot of people are saying that because Biden made a statement that he was the one who got involved and stopped the thing from happening. That's BS. It's the Egyptians who intervened, and the world has been petitioning. And you know what, Anil? The world is waking up. And I'm saying all of this
not
because
waking up.
Waking.
Not woke.
Yeah, not woke. They're waking up, because the woke culture is also a part of the problem. It's a part of the problem, but the world is waking up. When you see nations finally deciding that they will take a stand, and every nation has an element that is taking a stand against the genocide of the Palestinian people, except the global powers, the global major powers. And who controls the media now? Not those global major powers, global powers. And who do we in Trinidad and Tobago get our news sources from? We're taking it from the BBC, we're taking it from the Americans, we're taking it from whoever else, and we are not going to try to get a different side of the story.
Well, I have a lot of news just like you, and I go to the sources that are, first of all, tried and tested to give you facts. I will take on the madness. Look, a lot of people, I saw people sharing some of the reasons why people are against vaccines. They're talking about 5G, they're talking about some magnets sticking up in your hand.
Right.
They're talking about what? They're making joke about the whole thing as if these are real concerns.
Yeah.
And pushing it across to say, well, look, I take it. And I good. Look at this chip and these people. That's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's not what people, and there are thousands like me who saying the same thing.
But Anil, that's a deliberate strategy though.
Yes.
And it's a strategy that has been used in the past as well, and successfully so.
That is peer pressure on
they're delegitimizing your concerns. And let me tell you what's happening, Anil. If you have a question or a concern, right, all they have to do is not address your question or concern. You know, all they have to do is say, "Oh, look, he is an anti-vaxxer," or look, he is a conspiracy theorist." And once they slap those two labels on you, there is nothing that you could say that will make you come across as legitimate in the eyes of the sheep that are following.
You come like Kamala now.
Yeah.
They could say what they want to kill you.
And you become irrelevant.
No, I wouldn't say they want irrelevant. And the calm is good. But you're right, that is the end result of that kind of behavior. Yeah. That is the end result. And most of the time those who say that are not thinking beyond what the news tell them to think.
In fact, that is all that they're thinking about, because that is all that they're consuming. Or think about it, right? And you can't blame people per se, because
what are your thoughts on the vaccine? On these vaccines?
I think all of the vaccines are not created equally. These days I see that the latest slogan is any vaccine will work, or any vaccine could do, or just take a vaccine or get a vaccine. And I personally disagree with that. I will not be taking a messenger RNA based vaccine, and this is not because I'm a conspiracy theorist or believe in the 5G theories or anything of the sort.
5G has nothing to do with that.
Just because the research on it is so green, and if you were to really just immerse yourself just a little bit into the legitimate concerns voiced about it, you'd realize that we are really test subjects. The clinical trial is ongoing on the population, you know.
That's
so
COVID feature number 1. It says that too.
Right.
We do not have information. Test has not been done. These are the statements that are being said, but quietly in the public domain.
So I think for me, I've been looking at the technologies used to produce the vaccines, and whilst I will deliberately not take any of the messenger RNA based vaccines. I'm not looking at country of origin. I am, however, looking at the methodologies used, and I have my eyes on the Sputnik, even the Sinopharm that is available locally, and more so, I have my eyes on the Soberana out of Cuba.
There you go. So there's Brazil. At least boil it down to the choice of a few vaccines. He has his reasons. He's checking to see what he's injecting in his body and seeing if he needs it. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm asking people.
As a matter of fact, I was having conversations with my family of late, and I was telling them that if I could, because Cuba has a system now where if you land in Cuba and you're not vaccinated, they give you the option to take the Soberana. And if I could get a guaranteed flight to come back into Trinidad. Right?
What's it do with our Cuba vaccine? Everybody talking about it, saying it working.
They're just going through final approval.
Do you know that not these vaccines that are here in this country have not been approved by the FDA?
Right. So FDA approval and WHO approval are two different
things. WHO did it under emergency thing.
Yeah.
FDA is still checking to see if these vaccines are good.
Correct.
So why was the rush?
Mm-hmm.
Choking people, supposed to do something bad.
Well, again, it's an individual choice, and that's the note I'd like to end this part of the conversation.
Before you do that, let me ask you one more question. Mm-hmm. Right, and I haven't been able to get an answer for this. I think it's a legit question,
right?
Unless I'm a madman asking something.
Let's see if I'm equally hard to be able to answer.
How much of the persons who have been confirmed to have died of COVID-19 or ailments due to COVID-19 or with COVID-19 have been vaccinated?
Right.
Have had their vaccine. Is there data on that?
I'll answer your question with a question, right? And my question is, why is it that when you die before taking a vaccine, right, you are listed as having died from COVID.
Yeah.
But when you die after taking the vaccine,
you can't prove it.
It wasn't the vaccine, it was some other condition that you had.
Yeah, well, if that don't raise questions with your inner tutor, you beyond we are in a real conversation.
I hope you know, Anil, that we are chances now.
I lose real friends because of this.
We are going to be blasphemed for having this conversation. We are going to be accused. I am telling you, we're going to be accused of being anti-vaxxers of being conspiracy theorists, or at the very least, of being irresponsible. How could these public figures say these irresponsible things?
I think the irresponsible thing is to tell everybody, hey, go and take it. Look, I just did it. How is this irresponsible? Where you take? The vaccine, you protected? Yeah. No, you're not. Yes, boy. No, you're not.
I had a conversation with somebody just last night who tried to
and it's not me saying this,
who tried to be dismissive of me. Because she asked me if I'd taken the vaccine, if I intended to, and after I'd given her the answer, you could tell that it wasn't the answer that she wanted to hear. So she tried to be very dismissive of me. You're one of those. Okay, you're one of those. What am I gonna do? I don't.
Mighty, bright, most lovable fuzzy bear in the morning. Now all of a sudden it's one of those.
Yeah.
Alright, no problem. We're one of those now.
At
least we're not one of those.
Boy, it's a.
Listen,
I don't even know how to describe it, but
I don't like to tell people what to do.
And I also don't want people to tell me what to do.
I don't like people telling me what to do, especially if it's stupidness.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell them I go down the road and have doubles and for $4 it tastes real good. And I might think about it. Don't tell me I'm going to chuck something in my body that thousands of people all over the world have issues with and it not being addressed because it being seen as conspiracy theories.
Right. So in ending off this part, I just want to say that I would much prefer, Nil, if there were public education campaigns that aren't bent on saying this is false and this is true, but public education campaigns that are intended to address the legitimate concerns and questions that people like you and me and so many other thousands of people in Trinidad and Tobago alone have with regard to this whole situation. Can you tell me, if something goes wrong, who is responsible? Is it me who decided to take it? Is it the government of the republic? Is it the manufacturer of the concoction? Who is responsible? If I could prove that this was the case, can you provide the statistics on those who let's compile all the questions and let's just deal with it, Anil.
Why does an airline get to decide that I have to check something in my body to fly to a different part of the world?
Well, that's the other thing. If you don't take that vaccine, your days of traveling to perform in other countries.
Unless I invent my flying car and zoom out.
Or have a private jet. Or take a
but,
boat.
yeah, but they claim to own the airspace too. They own the beach. They own the water. They own. That's not they put air in a can. You need to go outside and breathe properly. And come pan air, $5.
Yeah. So, Nil, I wanted to move on, but I want to stick on this issue. I have to stick on this issue because this is real.
You know, let's listen to beers. Oh, me too.
I have to stick on this issue.
I was thinking about this. A lot of people have these conversations that people used to have long time. Remember a long time when family come over and the boys would sit down at the table and they would start to have opposing views on social topics and politics and things like that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happening, just happening online.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is everybody else into the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? I think if we pelt away this thing, everybody choose a day and pelt this thing in the sea one day.
But you can't, because you can't go by the sea.
We can't go in the water, we can pelt far. And pelt it in the sea, we'll be good for a little while.
So the last issue I wanted to really address a little bit on this, Nil, is we talk about the fear-mongering and we talked about the limitation on freedoms, right? I have been deeply concerned by the number of people who are calling for a state of emergency, and I have to give the Prime Minister his kudos for trying to abstain from declaring a state of emergency for the longest while. Mm-hmm. People have been assuming that a state of emergency is the solution. That is not the solution. And as the Prime Minister had explained before, all that does is limit your rights as a citizen of this country, as a civilian and as a human being. And the most concerning part of that is that it gives newfound privileges to people in positions that I cannot trust. Anil, do you trust all the elements of the police service? Do you trust all the elements of the protective services of this country when so many have been proven to be corrupt, in bubble, in the kidnapping rings, etc.?
So how dare you just go and allow
exactly my concern. Exactly my concern.
When they're going to retract that when COVID done?
Are they going to no, there are those who will say that
they going to retract that law?
It's just for a period of time, right? It's just for a period of time, and you need to make the sacrifice, etc. But let me ask you this, right? The freedoms that have been taken away from people when the Americans passed the Patriot Act after 9/11, the freedoms that were taken away from them then, have those freedoms been returned from then till now? No. You think any government is going to say no to more power?
Well, this is their way. I think really and truly they use COVID to hold on to whatever power they were losing.
And this is what we were talking about earlier too, about the totalitarianism.
And that is the only way. Look at the only people who safe right now. Unless you're involved directly in a government employed, unless you're employed in some line of government work, you have no income. Everybody else home. You could have been.
And you have the promise of a $1,500 grant, but they're swinging it here, and you have to jump through hoops to have a chance of getting it. Whilst there are still people who haven't gotten a grant from 2020.
And you listen to them?
So these are the conversations, Anil, that you and I have never had together or on air separately. And
this would not money. I mean, this is like a punchline that private and this is where we get our hands. So this is no way to be really hoodwinking because I don't have the answer,
But you just
I just know
in
they
it.
don't as well.
Yeah.
Right? And I can't listen to you if not because you say something and I didn't figure it out what you say. No, I don't trust you, I don't believe you, I don't like you. You've lied to us before, you rob us, you don't care about us. I'm not talking about our politicians, I'm talking about governments around the world here, you know.
Yeah.
From the Queen and the Kings go straight down to the Prime Ministers and Presidents, you know. They go straight down to us.
I want to tell.
Look at our roads in this country. Yeah? The simple first and foremost thing that you would like to think that your tax dollars paying for. The majority of roads in this place going through. But we get a whole big set of poison in the water the other day. Any official come and talk about that directly?
As a matter of fact, I never even knew that aluminum phosphate was used in our water locally.
Well, look at that. A whole big gulp fall into, a whole big tank burst and fall into the whole thing. And they wouldn't come out and say something, okay, here we're going to the water, nobody drink no water today, and flush it for the next 12 hours or something. They rather people get sick. And if I go and say, hey, the water stink, go flush that out, you matter. Can't waste water, you see nothing in the news. I just tell you, use no news. This is a cigar.
Yeah.
You stupid.
That's another line of defense, you know, Anil. When everything else fails, and when they realize that they can't win you
He's just singing other people's song.
on facts or sense or a proper argument, they will then seek to belittle you by your profession or
your race. Or
you're
your
not a medical professional. Okay, I'm not, but I do have sense and I can make sense from nonsense. You're not this one, you're not that, or you just do this for a living, or you just do that for a living. Your opinion is irrelevant. Your opinion doesn't matter. And from the moment they start going down that road, when they start making fun of you instead of dealing with you, they have lost the argument and they don't even realize it.
And they feel the winner.
Yeah, correct. So, Anil, before we wrap up though, man, this has been an incredible conversation so far. Timekeeper, how much time have we utilized so far?
Plenty.
About
56 minutes.
56 minutes. We have a little time, man. Let's rumble. I hope that our viewers and our listeners have been enjoying the conversation so far. I am certain that you will have things that you agree with and that you disagree with. Leave us a note in the comments below, please. And both Anil and I will do our best to try to respond as many as we
You
can.
want to get real weird on you?
This is not you being well already.
Not that. Real
Let's
weird.
go. Try me.
But good weird.
Uh-huh.
See now, this day and age, today, this present moment, time up in a kind of way, you know. See how everybody have this in their hand?
Yeah.
Everybody have the messages from their sources of Almighty. That's how to live life, you know. If you don't get in line with the way of trying to head back home to that supreme source, which comes with some movements and some things to do and not do, and a way to see life and to live life and to do things and to listen to and not listen to, is a different end result, and your soul will be faced with, you know. Now is a time of enlightenment, now is a time of truth, now is a time of forgetting everything that COVID take away from you, you know, and trying to stay focused. Our daily bread is booked, right?
Yes, your sustenance has already been destined.
Right? Get in line with your maker. All the teachings pushing you back to your spirituality. You have been taken away from your church and from your temple and from your mosque because you don't need that energy of a group anymore to find God. You don't need to leave your house. This is it. Stay quiet and do it all, everything that you take away from you. You don't need the Benz and the Beamer and the $1 million and the bling anymore and the range. No, that things matters to nobody no more. School closed. What's going to happen when this generation don't get to go to school and they make sure it's not dunce head according to their system is going to be born? Right? How are we going to prepare them for the new world? How are we going to prepare them to face all these serious things? We ourselves need to get off this high horse of materialism.
But no, there is also the other option. There is also the other possibility that the children of this generation could actually turn out to be way better than any other before.
I think they're in for a rude awakening.
Think about it. The children of this generation
Not being indoctrinated.
are going to grow up learning how to cook, learning how to change a tire, learning how to run a household, learning how to hunt, learning how to take care of everything, and still getting their traditional education from digital platforms, but at the same time, they're hunting on YouTube and finding things that speak to their soul from the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and starting to go down whichever rabbit hole they choose. So they are now choosing their paths, and not their parents, and not their teachers, and not society, and not the government.
So when are the parents going to wake up on Saturday? Inject that into the children.
When you start to use terms like wake up now, right? We're starting to go down a different plane there.
No, because
now we're gonna talk about the fact that in the Matrix they said that the mind cannot be freed once it is past a certain age. So you can't expect some people to wake up if they are entrenched in the system. A mind that is entrenched in this world.
Then they will remain in the system and be forced to go through the harms that the system brings with it. That's all. If you can't maneuver through this and stay from the days of Adam and Eve breads, right? The first man was since then they corrupted. We just need to chill from this material world that's being taken away from us for a little while. Find ourselves, because trust me, we'll be studying this fat party with the next meal coming from. I can't meet my girl because ting, this one so by so. Money running out, thing, how much I'm going to go to school. Forget about all that stuff. Pray and you'll get answers. And you get comfort too. The universe is sending things your way, blessings just follow the sky literally, Right? Well, what we need? We need a big box of food, so 2 people in our house. We need 1, 2, there's something big so to sustain you. Which is actually correct thing to eat, amount to eat. Who needs a whole wasting of food? I feel you never feel healthier than you the ones are Ramadan when you now come out.
Yeah.
How much food you need?
You're talking about food.
We're too greedy.
I remember an Islamic quote that says, the hadith that Prophet upon peace, which says, when you have food for 2 people, you actually have food for 4. And when there's food for 1, there's food for 2. And when there's food for 4, there's food for 8. And in that alone, there is a code of life and a code of how we should be living, how we should be eating, how we should be operating as human beings.
We too much trying to see about this and things around us. People, now is the time to just go and read your holy book, see if it resonates with you, see if it makes sense. If it doesn't, go about your business. I don't know what.
Nil, I can't have you here and we not talk also about some music and industry related things, man. This has been about an hour of a very intriguing conversation that we've never had the opportunity to have.
The only difference is I have more time to be in the studio now to produce, so they do me a favor there in terms of production.
Right.
And the bad thing is that the entertainment industry, if it ever opens back, is going to be the last one to open.
Yeah. You're fortunate in that you still have a job outside of being an entertainer.
Totally thankful.
And
but I'm just thankful. I mean, we are blessed with talents in life. Some people are carpenters, lawyers, doctors, radio peeps. Some people have a voice to sing. Some people have charm. People have to use their gifts to make their living.
And pivot.
And get through in life. Yeah. Look how challenging radio has been for us. I mean, we gone from
an events company that masquerades as a radio station, because we are primarily events.
Yeah. We gone from very strict days of not, if you don't play a top 20 after the jingle, you're in trouble, to people cussing anything on radio now. So where's the balance? So we have people stealing us, we have professionals in the mix, same thing, we have crazy people who are being us conspiracy theorists, we have people who talk in facts, everything cool as one. So people just need to just stop following all these trends and think for yourself, and you will see the truth and make your own decision. But don't tell me I'm mad. You mad.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about radio now. You 30 years, coming up on 30 years roughly, on air, soon enough on air, 30 years. It has evolved from then till now. I mean, barring COVID and all that has happened over the last 2 years, but things have changed quite a lot, and the talents have changed. You have gone through almost every era of on-air talents that you could think about, and specifically with the Indo entertainment circuit, from the days of Shamoon and yourself, and the predecessors even before that.
Shamoon was before me. I came after Shamoon.
Right, and
Well,
whoever else was before Shamoon as well, in the earliest days, till the present crop that we have now. Do you have? How do you view that evolution from then till now? Have things improved on the talent pool we're talking about here, not the industry altogether, but on the talent pool?
I'm gonna tell you
Have
something.
things improved or what worse?
It's easier to get 2.7 thousand likes than 2 garbage bag full of letters every day, upstairs down circular mall for every announcer. These young people now they have not experienced what real stardom is. You went on radio, girls cannot die for you like Michael Jackson. Am I lying?
Yeah.
Is it like that now for anybody?
Uh-huh.
So we get the cream of the crop. So we were blessed that we have been a part of an era where it topped out. And I say we because nobody to touch me and you on radio. You could laugh. Right? You have mornings locked, I have afternoons locked. They moved me around by the time I thought I was gonna die. Not a legend on radio. I was like, bring it on.
So what do you think is the key to relevance now for 20 and 30 years? What is the key to relevance?
One of the most dangerous things in radio, and I've been involved in 2 radio stations, mainly one, and I rub a lot of shoulders with people in the radio industry. One of the worst things for radio is hiring a talent, because that's what an announcer is on radio for me, a talent. And a talent comes with their talent and their way of doing things. Yeah, I'll take little guidance and a little polishing for your policy. You're not supposed to tell that person what to do. A person is supposed to know what to do. If they don't know what they're doing, get somebody else who know what they're doing and see people like them. When you tell them, you know, you had to play dance all in the morning. And hour number 2, I want 2 versions. Because you can do community complaining, and in the morning I want your recipe or your thing cut down to 2 minutes because some people, what? So I said also on radio, not be me now. So who to be? What to play? So what you gotta feel. That's been a downfall. Every time I dip, I feel in my career. It's because somebody tell me what to do. I swear to you. Now I'm not saying I know everything. I do a lot of crap. I have done.
So it's when they tell you to do something that goes counter to who you are,
not just
who your personality is.
Sometimes I always like to use the example. There was a petition from upstairs Mutual Life building to downstairs 4 stories high, signed and stapled together by prominent citizens to not play chutney on the station.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How times have changed. Remember when I used to beg to get one of them song play on the station long time, with a little vulgar word and thing in the song, even remotely suggested it wasn't heard of.
Yeah.
Nowadays you order the skin out and bend down and pull out the other way and stick your private part in mine and stick it in your mouth. I still censored. And people playing that and my little grandson and listen to that stupidness. But in my days it wasn't so bad. At least it was disguised.
Yeah.
And you want to endorse that?
I always use that Lack and Carrier song as an example of a good double entendre. Remember where he said
This was our purple screwdriver and we go screw and I go screw and all that thing man.
Right, but now you have songs. Those songs were banned in the era that they came out in, but now you have songs that are worse than that that are making it onto air. So does it then mean that we have to go back in time and relook some of the songs that were banned back then?
Nah, we have a small industry that keep changing.
What's this song if your mommy like a wabi, your daddy like a saddy?
That is
what Michael Carrier must do?
Well, a wabin is a big fish.
Right.
And saddy is a small fish.
Yeah.
If somebody's so big with somebody so
Yeah.
small, it's rude.
Right.
And then the trade.
But it was disguised.
It was disguised.
And it was still banned.
And it was still.
And now it is much more blatant.
I get your point.
And it is rampant.
But we don't want to play that kind of thing anyway. We're not saying that we want to go on and push that kind of take down people's throat. I think we've been blessed as well to be the most toughest judge group on any radio frequency.
Yeah.
But if we say
because as leaders you're held to a different standard. Because I've always found it unfair, and initially I couldn't understand why other stations could do something and we couldn't do it. And not internally that we couldn't do it, but if we tried to do it, we would get bashed in a way that the other stations wouldn't. And then we realized, oh, it's because people, they hold us in a different level of esteem, in a different regard, and so they have a different benchmark standard for us. So whilst they will tolerate other people getting on the way they do, they're not taking that from us at all.
You talking about the fans? I get pulled off a mailer stage for my band playing
because they've had I when I was in management, I remember having to vet. We used to have a system where you had to have the bands send their repertoire beforehand. And we have to go through that repertoire, and it was my job at the time
that is the hardest thing
to go through that repertoire and say, okay, the contract says no more than 5% soca. Okay, this song by this song by this song, and how many songs here, but they didn't tell me how much minutes each song, and you have to calculate if that play is given to you beforehand has 5. That is the kind of drama we had to go through to be able to play music that didn't belong to the genre that we were playing at the time. And now it's a time for free for all because times have changed. And this is not to belabor it and say that we wish for things to go back to them, because a rolling stone gathers no moss, right? After one time is another, as the old people say, right? But this is just to say that, to summarize what you were saying, you were talking about the personality and the drop in standards. The fact that, we're not being ourselves, many people aren't being their authentic selves on air. And there's a lack of decrease in standards and benchmark standards overall in the industry. And one of my concerns that I would add into that is the word connection. One of the things I think that made the true radio greats and media greats great was the fact that they connected with people on a one-to-one basis. They were there. I think of people like the late Alison Hennessy, and I think of all the other people in media who have connected with audiences and lived or died as icons. And the one thing that they all had in common though was
professional courtesy.
They all had a way to connect with my heart to your heart. They spoke to me as a human being.
And they never went wrong in the gutter. They were always kind and courteous.
Correct. And they forced you, wherever level you were at, to elevate yourself. And now, my biggest issue
they want you to come down to their level.
Is that everybody, every DJ, every announcer now seemingly feels like they need to come down to a level. Like, in order to be seen as being a roots man or people's person,
you can be cool,
they have to come down.
You can be cool and up there, man.
And speak proper, or at least decent. And not play the gutter music. Neil, we can talk for hours on it, but I think you need to make it home before the curfew.
Go on and get your curfew.
I don't want that.
Curfew. Imagine, hey, this crazy. And the next thing too, we not ever going back to.
You have to go. My director said you have to go back to your prison cell.
No, it's my home. That's my oasis. That's why I love being most. You don't know what you did to me there. You sent me home.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No problem. Now, but it's tough. We have to find a way to move through this. If you're one of those who not accustomed to taking this a serious, honest statement as well. If you're one of those who would like to take care of your health and you have health issues and you have let's say you're too far gone on that side and you feel that you need to go and get your booster, go get your vaccine. Right? Don't tell everybody that they need to get it for us to get back to normal. That's not the solution to normal. Explain how to get me back to normal. Right? Show me the maths in it that is working. Go and have a data system put in place for everyone that's vaccinated. See how they're operating. Where's the chart for that? I want to see these things. This is a test because there's nothing before to tell us how this operated. Right? And let people say, okay, this is what this does. That is good for me. I'm going to do that. Or let somebody say, I'm too much at risk for this.
Do you remember when COVID had just happened and the conspiracy theories were running wild and rampant? I pay attention to all of them, by the way. I listen to all. I look at all. I research all.
You have to, and you have to debunk it or not.
Yes, I don't. Something comes up. I don't say, "Oh, that is stupidness. I don't want to hear it." I want to hear it, and I want to determine if it makes sense or not. And anyways, one of the things being bandied about back then, long before we started talking about vaccine passports, right? There was a thing floating about which was saying that, listen, this virus has only just started, but I bet you before we are able to come out of this, right, you're going to need a medical passport or a medical number or something of the sort, identification, in order to be able to go back out and live life normal. And they were saying it the acronym is in the name, COVID, COVID. I don't know if you ever heard this one. They said it stands for Coronavirus Identification. COVID. Ever heard that? But I'm just saying, right?
But at the same time,
even if you're not a conspiracy theorist, look how that come full circle.
Let's delve down the rabbit hole a little bit, right? Let's not delve down.
Let's put a wrap on it. Let me ask you in closing, how was the sorrel, man?
That sorrel was absolutely awesome. I felt like Christmas.
So that's two things you've had from
I love this sawine. I love this sawine. That is how sawine is supposed to be. The milk is supposed to be separate from the thing. It's not supposed to be soaked into the whole thing. It's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be watery but milky, but not milky and not watery. I can't explain it.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I loved it.
Neil, thanks a million for the conversation.
Thank you so much. Maybe we'll delve down the rabbit hole off air.
It will have to be.
Actually, let me delve down the rabbit hole a little bit before we close.
Right.
This also twisted and sick, right? Bible prophecy seems to be kind of panning out right now, whether it happening naturally or not.
Right.
They will push it to happen. Have you noticed recently on mainstream and credible news sources like 60 Minutes on BBC, CNN, the increase in unidentified flying objects?
Yeah. Well, the Pentagon released official footage.
And I know, first of all, if you can't believe me and telling me I'm stupid for the facts that I bring, and you see a little triangle so in the sky floating, and the government saying they don't know what that is, it could be aliens, they bullshitting you even more. So prepare for their fakeness to come and frighten you walk into a corner. Right? That looks like no alien at that level. And there's a next set of BS conspiracy.
And Obama just issued a statement on it.
Right? So to have your government come and say, well, you know, I have to admit the pattern, whatever this and this release and official this and
you know,
it's time for them
but
to
you
frighten you
don't
with
find
that.
it was rather suspect the timing with which, or in the timing in which that information
Well, if
came
they could
out.
line up everybody the way they line us up for COVID, you don't think a big something in the sky that take that frightening day
And for those who don't know what this is about, one of the quote unquote conspiracy theories is that the governments are one of the theories out there is that the governments are preparing us, they're grooming us for a faked alien invasion. That's one of the theories floating around. Another one that's floating around is that they knew about the existence of extraterrestrial life for a long time, but because they could no longer keep it a secret, it's now beginning to pan out. They're slowly releasing the information. So there's so many rabbit holes to go down.
One of the last things Trump did was to enforce space.
To create the Space Force, yes.
A Space Force, which is a branch of the US military. US military.
Yeah.
So, that has an unlimited budget.
Right.
These are the kind of lines that I read into stories.
Right.
When come and say yes to space, everybody say, yeah, no, we're going out of space, but we might be able to say no. Unlimited budget. For what? For something like this, to shoot what? Captain America.
So,
I don't know.
Nil, in closing, there are some who might look at you right now and say, hey, you need you need to stop watching so much Fox. Yeah.
I know much more Fox. No, Fox is one of those. Fox is tainted. Fox is on the other side of the political fence.
Yeah.
But they are the closest ones to giving you some facts. It might be tainted and the story might.
Well, they're all tainted.
Yeah, they're all tainted. So look for the facts in the taintedness now.
Yeah, but I've always considered myself to be a bit of a liberal, but I have to say that the liberal left has gone too far left that I cannot follow. And a lot of times now, I find myself agreeing with many of the things that the right wing media is saying as well, and that is something that is phenomenal in itself for people like you and I to start talking about. Listen, I'll end by telling you this, right? And I'll use this as a teaser for the next episodes, upcoming episodes of this, right? You may be surprised to know that I would have liked very much if a certain president had remained president instead of the present president. This may end up being cut out of the whole thing.
You supporting that?
But let me tell you why. I'll give you one reason why, right?
Well, that is commendable. You know why? Because it shows that you can look past the messenger and listen to what is being said. Look past the coloration from the messenger as his message, and look at the facts.
So I'll give you one reason why I take that stance, right? And that reason is simply this. Donald Trump, I'm a Muslim. Donald Trump basically said, I don't want a Muslim coming in my country. And you know what? I can live with that. If you don't want me to come to your home,
I don't want to come.
I'm okay with that. And I appreciate the fact that you've been straightforward enough to tell me that. I could live with that. Thank you. You're not the most courteous person on the planet, but thank you very much for being straightforward with me. I'll go somewhere else.
The dangers of broad brushing, you see?
Great. So I can work with that. As opposed to other liberal presidents who have been there before, who under their tenure and their leadership, for instance, right, the US drone program was created. These are the presidents who is talking to me and saying, hey, my brother, assalamu alaikum, welcome. Yes, you're welcome to come to my country anytime. But whilst I'm shaking your hand, you are remotely bombing and killing millions of people. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, just go and search the drone program and see how many kinks there were and how many people died.
It's painful.
And the very said president under whose tenure it happened eventually admitted in an interview that even as the most powerful man in the world, he couldn't stop some of the things that were happening from happening. And isn't that concerning?
Why are they bombing the people for? Why are they bombing the people for?
Politics, oil, resources, dominance, control, that they all boil back down to the use of the word American interests.
Yeah. And what is the picture painted on these people to the rest of the world?
That they're all criminals. That they're all terrorists.
Are they?
A long time ago now, I learned that
little baby whose hand was
one man's treasure is another man's trash, and one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist.
That's the next thing too.
Thank you very much for joining us for our first episode.
That's a glass case in case you're wondering about mass and things like that. Because he was like, what?
Yeah, we actually have many other elements. This is 6 feet and you and I are apart, so about 8 feet away from each other.
8 feet away, glass
with
case,
partitionings, etc. Just for those of you who are worried or wondering, alright, we're not being irresponsible. But thanks for viewing. Please leave us your comments down below. And Anil and I have been very respectful in the way that we've engaged with each other and tried to bring our points across. And I would like to encourage you to please do the same as well. Even if you disagree with anything or everything that we've said, we could all agree to disagree. And if we can't agree to disagree, then the problem is not with what we have said, but the problem then lies with the person who is taking that to heart and can't respond accordingly, right? So that's it. And until next week again, God willing, I'll introduce you to our next guest later on in the week. We'll let you know who that is shortly. But for now, that's it. Anil, any words in closing, man?
Blessings to everybody. Stay smart. Think for yourself. And don't let nobody tell you what to do.
Trust, count on you to keep everything all the time.
On your intuition, your inner tutor.
Right.
It's there for a reason. All these people invent everything on anything they fall from the sky.
Right.
Came from within.
Alright. I'm going to watch Anil burn some leaves in the background now. And that brings our show to an end. Till next week. Bye for now.